In the early morning hours of May 14, 1918, in the thick mud of the Argonne Forest, 24 German soldiers crawled toward a single American outpost. They weren't expecting a fight. They were expecting a quick capture of 2 exhausted sentries. What they found instead was a 5'4" private named Henry Johnson. By the time the sun rose, the forest floor was stained red. Johnson had been shot, stabbed, and hit by shrapnel 21 times. His rifle had jammed, his teammate was unconscious, and he was down to his last weapon, a 9-inch carbon steel bolo knife. The Germans called his unit the Black Death. After that night, the world would know why. But while France gave him their highest medal for bravery, his own country would let him die penniless and forgotten. Today, we're telling the story of the man who fought a war for a country that wasn't ready to fight for him. Before they were the Hellfighters, they were the 15th New York National Guard. They were a regiment of black men waiters, porters, and musicians from Harlem who wanted to prove their patriotism on the global stage of World War I. But when they arrived in France, the American expeditionary forces didn't know what to do with them. Segregation was the law of the land, and many white American officers refused to command black troops or even fight alongside them. The U.S. Army actually issued a secret document to the French military, warning them not to treat black soldiers as equals, fearing it would spoil them for when they returned home. So the U.S. essentially gave them away. They were attached to the French 16th Division. They were stripped of their American helmets, given French Adrian helmets, handed French Lebel rifles, and sent to the most dangerous part of the Western Front. For 191 days, the 369th stayed in the trenches. That's longer than any other American unit in the war. They never lost a foot of ground, and they never had a man taken prisoner. It was 2 a.m. Henry Johnson and Private Needham Roberts were on sentry duty at Outpost 20. Suddenly, the sound of wire cutters snipping through the dark alerted them. A raiding party of nearly 30 Germans was on top of them. A grenade blast knocked Roberts unconscious. Johnson was hit by a flurry of bullets and shrapnel. He tried to fire his rifle, but he had shoved a French magazine into an American rifle. The gun jammed. The Germans rushed the trench, trying to drag the wounded Roberts away as a prisoner of war. Henry Johnson didn't let that happen. He used his jammed rifle as a club until the wooden stock splintered into pieces over a German's head. When he was knocked to the ground, he pulled his bolo knife, a massive curved blade. He lunged at the enemy, disemboweling one and stabbing another through the ribs. He was fighting like a man possessed. Despite being shot in the face, the side, and his feet, he kept swinging. When the German party finally retreated, they left behind equipment, blood, and 4 of their dead. Henry Johnson had fought off an entire squad single-handedly to save his friend. News of the Battle of Henry Johnson spread like wildfire. The French military was so stunned by his courage that they awarded him the Croix de Guerre, with a golden palm, their highest award for valor. He was the first American of any race to receive it. When the 369th returned to New York in 1919, they were given a victory parade through Fifth Avenue. Thousands of people cheered for the Harlem Hellfighters. Henry Johnson was the face of the regiment, who led in a car at the front of the line. But the cheers didn't last. Because of clerical errors and the systemic racism of the time, Johnson's medical records didn't accurately reflect the 21 wounds he suffered. When he tried to apply for disability and veteran benefits, he was denied. He couldn't return to his job as a railway porter because bullets had shattered his feet. He turned to alcohol to numb the physical and mental pain of the war. By 1929, just 11 years after his heroics in France, Henry Johnson died of heart failure. He was only 32 years old. He was buried in a pauper's grave, his name slowly fading from public memory. For decades, the story of Henry Johnson was a hidden history. It was kept alive by the people of Harlem and a few persistent historians who refused to let his sacrifice be forgotten. It took nearly a century, but the tide finally turned. In the 1990s, it was discovered that he hadn't been buried in a pauper's field, but at Arlington National Cemetery under a misspelled name. The search for justice intensified. In 2015, 97 years after the fight in the Argonne Forest, Henry Johnson was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. He fought for a country that didn't want him. He saved a brother in arms at a trench thousands of miles from home. And though he died without the honor he deserved, his story now stands as a testament to the fact that bravery has no color, and true legends can never stay buried forever. Henry Johnson was a hellfighter, and now he's a household name. This is Q History. If you think more people need to hear Henry's story, hit the like button and subscribe. We'll see you in the next chapter of history.